and he faced some tough questions over the controversial Bo Bergdahl prisoner swap, which freed 5 Taliban terrorists. Take a look.
I recognize that the speed with which we moved in this case has caused great frustration, legitimate questions, and concern. We could have done a better job, of keeping you informed. There's also always some risk associated with the transfer of detainees from Guantanamo. This is not a risk-free business.
Have we made other trades with the Taliban?
With the Taliban, I don't know. I don't think so. These are 5 individuals who have been off the battlefield for 12, 13 years. Doesn't mean they won't go back. And I would also remind all of us, there's risk to all of this. This is not a perfect situation.
So did the first public hearing on the controversial swap answer any of the remaining questions? Here with reaction, Kentucky Senator Rand Paul. Senator, this is the dumbest thing I think I've ever seen this administration or anybody do. Want to get your reaction to it. And the first thing they had told us was, oh, we're safe. They're not, Americans aren't at risk here. Then they had to pull back from that, just like they said Bergdahl served with honor and distinction. Your reaction?
Well, here's the short answer that he could have told us. They just broke the law. The law says you have to notify Congress 30 days before you do this. The other thing is, it's not just Hagel, it's not just the president. Hillary Clinton is now saying that, oh, you know what, the Taliban is not a danger to Americans. That's about as ludicrous of a statement as I've heard. But the interesting thing is about 1 in 3 of the prisoners that have been released in the past have gone back to committing violence. Also, a few years ago, we released 3 Moroccans. Do you know where they are now? They're fighting in Syria. 1 or 2 of them have now been killed, but for the last several years, 3 people who we captured in Afghanistan, took to Gitmo, and released to Morocco are now fighting in Syria on the same side that we're on, supposedly. So there's a lot of confusion, but the bottom line is dangerous people shouldn't be released. All right, and it was a dumb idea to release these people.
It seems that the president has decided he wants to empty Gitmo because now they've made a new assessment and they've determined that about half the remaining prisoners could be released because one showed an interest in having a baby. Another one took up yoga. Another one wants a milk and honey farm, which, by the way, is taken, I would argue, probably from the Quran. So my question is, they really want to empty Gitmo. So that means what? What does that mean for the average American, that we're going to release every terrorist that we've detained from the battlefield?
Right. The president seems to think the war is over, cessation of hostilities, you return prisoners. Here's the problem, though. The Taliban has not decided to lay down arms. They've not decided to no longer commit violence. In fact, when they got one of these Taliban prisoners back, the response from the Pakistani Taliban was, he is worth 12,000 jihad fighters. We will continue to kill Americans. That doesn't sound like a cessation of war. So I think this was a huge mistake. The only thing I would do differently, though, that would give permanence to this is I would do my military tribunals, convict the people and give them either life sentences or death penalty, but give them some sentence. It is a problem that we've never sentenced them, so the president feels like, well, I'll just empty the prison. If they actually had a sentence and had been prosecuted, I think it'd be a little bit easier to make the argument that, my goodness, we sentenced them, here's all this information of the people they killed, they shouldn't be released.
Yeah, I think it's obvious they shouldn't have been released. What is your take on Bergdahl himself and his platoon members here on this program, all confirming that they knew that he was a deserter?
Well, it really makes you wonder, releasing 5 senior Taliban, you're talking about the leaders of the Taliban movement, and I don't see any justification for it.
What is your reaction to the Eric Cantor defeat yesterday?
Well, I think part of my response is that people are unhappy with the same things going on in Washington. They want Republicans to be bold. They want us to be for reducing taxes. They want us to be against corporate welfare. They want us to be against raising the debt limit. They want us to stand firm in what we're supposedly for. And I think that the gentleman who ran, it was as much of a, I guess, an ascertainment that he is somebody who would carry that torch forward.
All right, Rand Paul, Senator, thank you for being with us. Appreciate it. And coming up next tonight, right here.